Alright lads, so we officially done another week of Guild Quest, and with that we have another preparation guide, in this case for the upcoming week of Guild Quest, where we are going against holo enemies, and also no affiliation enemies. Phase 1 in particular wants us to bring melee holo killers, and Phase 2 wants to bring melee no affiliation killers. Personally, I would like to think this week is going to be on the relative easier side compared to the last couple of weeks that we have experienced in Guild Quests. You know, holo and also no affiliation are some of the more relevant killers in the game, the more common ones too. So most people watching this shouldn't have that much of a struggle when tackling this quest when compared to the last couple of so weeks. I think as of right now, we've gotten through most of the bad weeks with like, you know, range Quinty killers, etc. Right now we're getting the more traditional killers, and overall that means that our options are a lot more expensive. So first up, let's have a look at the melee holo guild quest. Now in this case, we have a good variety of really good leads that you can bring, and also most importantly, some really good sides that are also equally as important as your potential main leads. Now one of the go-tos I know for a lot of people, myself included, will be 1000 Year Blood War Yamamoto. Now he's not going to be the fastest character for this particular week, but he definitely will be someone that a lot of people can use, just given the fact that he's been out in the game since the 7th anniversary. He's been a must-have ever since, and I know a lot of people have summoned for this particular character. If you have him, 1-5, 2-5, 5-5, it doesn't matter. This character is definitely going to be a really good lead. Of course, him having Holo Killer here, having a Vortex SA2 with weakening and also burn, and most importantly, having a good damage output, especially when it comes to that Sword Bomb. Now, the final boss in particular for this guild quest is a speed character, so making Yamamoto again not the fastest if we're trying to like optimize our clear time. But if you're just trying to clear, it's still going to be a good character to bring, even if the final boss is speed. Because what you can do is just save your Sword Bomb for the final boss, and at that point, you're potentially doing 60% more damage if you have double weakened defense, and then that means your two side characters, your main DPS characters, potentially non-attack damage characters, can finish up the work and do most of the damage against the final boss, whereas you, as a power character, are doing more damage against the fourth boss, since the fourth boss is actually a technique character. Now, one thing too that's worth mentioning that's very valuable for a character like this is that he does have shared status immunity, so that's really good in case you are bringing a side normal attack damage character that isn't immune to the status element. You can just make it so they're immune, which is really good. And the status element you want to be immune to is poison, so if you can't make it so your characters can be immune, Yamamoto basically does that, while also providing good damage output, and of course also crowd control. Now, if you're looking for the fastest clear time potentially, this character can be your best character, that of course being Parasol Bruno. Now, reason for that is because, at least when compared to Yamamoto, Bruno just has a way higher damage output, right? He's immune to every status element. Bruno has Frenzy +2 and does start the quest with 70% of the gauge full, so after using basically 3 strong attacks, your gauge is ready, you're getting 100% more Berserker, and you're also getting a 50% SP boost, while at the same time never ever having status disadvantage. So if you're wondering if you should use, so if you do have the option of using Bruno or Yamamoto, Yamamoto is going to be the easier, simple route to take. Since he has the Vortex, you don't have to worry about crowd control because he does provide that. With Bruno, you are going to have to worry if your teammates can stay alive, if they can take the damage, if you can protect them some way, shape, or form. But Bruno's damage output will be higher, and therefore has a potential to get a higher score if you do care about that. But again, if you're looking just to clear, Yamamoto should be your best lead. But either way, Yamo or Bruno are going to be really good leads for this particular quest. Now, some other leads that you can bring, the two that are calling me that I want to actually try out for this particular guild quest is, of course, firstly, Safui Raitsu. It's not like she's bad or anything. She still has like a really high damage output, especially with her Frenzy +2, Berserker value, full stamina. She also has built-in weakened defense, and this time around, as already mentioned, the final boss is a speed character. So if you are using this Retsu as a technique character, you are doing more damage to the final boss. You also do have a charge strong attack 3, which does do a lot of damage if you do fully charge it up. She can apply weakening, so that's not too bad. Overall, very solid character, very similar to Bruno in the extent that you're not providing much crowd control. So if you are using her, ideally you want to have someone in your team that can provide barriers, or you want to at least have some characters that are going to be quite tanky. Maybe level 10 stamina, maybe last ditch links so they don't end up dying. But Retsu's a good lead, definitely gonna try out tomorrow. Looking forward to trying her out. Haven't actually used it in quite some time. And the same to a less extent can be said about 5th Anniversary Ichigo, right? He's just a character that's been out for like 3 years now. His damage output isn't anything super crazy, but I do know a lot of people have this character max translated. He's been out in the game for 3 years. He's been relevant for 3 years for the most part, so you might have already worked on this character. Now, the only problem with this character is, again, lack of crowd control. You would have to compensate with your sides, and at the same time, his damage output isn't nearly as high compared to the other characters we just talked about, but most importantly, as a power character, the final boss being speed might hurt him a tad bit. But since the 4th boss's technique, you might be able to get into the 4th boss relatively quick, get into the 5th boss, and depending on how much time you have left, you might still be able to beat it. Definitely a character worth using, especially if you have some good sides to back it up. Realistically, at the end of the day, if you have some good sides, you know, some really good damage dealing no-attack characters that can also keep themselves alive, realistically, it doesn't even matter what main you bring, you can beat it. I mean, we did exactly that with Don Kanoji. For those that missed it, we literally used one, not a good character by any means, like there's no redeeming qualities about Don Kanoji anymore. We took him into Guild Quest and we beat it, and that mainly came down to our sides doing most of the damage and also most of the work. So depending on your account, you can definitely make this character potentially work. And I think that's it when it comes to your best leads possible. Now, of course, you can always rock different characters. You know, some people could get away using Nelio. Some people could get away using this Yoruichi Soifon. Even Charlotte. Fierce Battle Grimjow, the free-to-play Ichigo, which in fact we are going to try out tomorrow. There's a lot of different teams that you can bring, but it ultimately comes down to your sides if they are, again, good enough. So let's talk about those. So let's go to Sort. Let's make it so our characters have Flurry, and these are going to be your main normal attack dealing characters. Now, in this case, most of these characters are premium. Most of them have been in the game for years now, so you should definitely have them. As long as you have 1 or 2 of these characters, you should be pretty much fine. Because what you can do is you can rock a 2-nat character, right? You can use Shinji. Now, Shinji is going to be really good for this quest because he is a nat character that does more damage in Guild Quest, as you can see here, but he is also a booster boost SA2 with also some pretty good crowd control. So if you want to do a lot of damage as a nat character, having Shinji in your team is important because he will be doing a lot of damage himself while also providing your team with more stat. Every team in Guild Quest should be having a booster like this, and the fact that he has Killer, the fact that he's doing damage himself makes it even better. So Shinji alongside Sergeant, for example, is also going to be really good here. In this case, another good character for Guild Quest, does more damage in Guild Quest, a lot of damage in Guild Quest actually. He's immune to poison, and I believe he also has a Vortex SA2, which is going to go off for a short time. It won't really provide a great set of crowd control, but it definitely will be good enough to tackle the quest. What you can do is Yamamoto, Shinji, and also this Sergeant, and that team is actually going to be very solid. Replace Yamamoto with Bruno, it's also going to work quite well. Same goes for any of the other characters we mentioned. Safui Retsu, 5th Anniversary Ichigo. Assuming you can keep your team alive, this team will definitely work, and other than that, some replacements are basically any character here. If you just bring 1 good SP character, mainly Yamamoto to keep it simple since he does provide the crowd control, and 2 of these characters, assuming they have level 10 attack T20, you're easily beating this quest. Shinji will be your best booster. Other than that, if you don't have Shinji, your next best booster is going to be Ikaku. He is a team booster. Not the booster skill, but still a booster nonetheless. And if he does end up dying, he will actually revive, and once more use that strong attack 2 again. If you don't have any of those 2 boosters, Shinji or Ikaku, you can just bring a normal team booster that doesn't do damage, Maid or Hime, 1000 Year Blood or Soifon, any other boost character with the booster skill SA2 should do the job, assuming you have a good side nerd character to back it up. Again, like Sergeant, could be Shinji as well, even Yami. There's definitely a lot of possibilities you can do for this quest. Me personally, I'm thinking about bringing... I'm going to try out multiple teams actually tomorrow. We're going to try Yamamoto as a main. We're going to try Bruno. We're going to try Retsu. Maybe even 5th Anniversary Ichigo. And I definitely also want to try out the free-to-play Ichigo too, because you can max transcend him, and he does transform. He gets his strong attacks back. He might be decent. As for my normal attack dealing characters, I'm tempted to bring Shinji and also Sergeant. If I didn't have Shinji, I'd bring Ikaku. And if I didn't have Sergeant, I would probably bring, you know, Ruroka or Hiyori, because these characters have been out for quite some time. I have them duped out, and I can definitely make them work. That then takes us into the Amelia No Affiliation Guild Quest, which is also, again, going to be a pretty easy week. So first up, let's look at options in terms of lead characters, lead SP characters. 8th Anniversary White was really good in the mini Slurper Guild Quest, so you know guaranteed he's also going to be really good in the Amelia No Affiliation Guild Quest. Having a really high damage output thanks to his Frenzy +2, increased chance to inflict stat summons, 100% more damage once you do inflict stat summons, weakened defense, bombardment, SP boost. This character is great. This character is really, really good. The Lacerate actually stops the enemies from even attacking you, and you're also immune to every stat summon. And for this quest in particular, you do want to be immune to burn. White's going to be a really good lead here if you have not a better character. He just came back in the Brave Fest, and if you have him, you can definitely put him to work in this particular upcoming guild quest. Other than that, some other great options. Of course, you have Gin. He's going to be your crowd control character. SA2 Vortex, 50 hit Vortex in particular, has a good chance to inflict poison, does more damage to poison enemies. He's not a character really designed for guild quest since he is a farmer, but he's definitely going to be good here since he does provide the crowd control. You do have to be careful since he himself is not immune to burn, but given the status elements on the map, you can easily dodge around that, stand in a good spot, and since you are providing the crowd control with that SA2 Vortex, you won't have to worry about flash step around the map. All you gotta do is use one strong attack to keep the enemy in place. When that SA2 wears off, use one or two more strong attacks if you have any ready, and then your SA2 will be back almost instantly, and then you can just keep the enemy in place, allowing your two side characters to do most of the damage. So again, of course, is going to be really good here. Another good character that you can use is going to be 1000 Year Blood with Ichigo. Again, lacking on the crowd control aspect, but he does do a lot of damage, especially if you don't inflict the status element. Definitely can make this character work as a lead if you have some good sides to back it up, especially someone with a barrier. Same can be said for Uryu. A lot of damage output here, especially when you do get the gauge at max completion. You're then getting 100% extra Berserker. Your strong attacks are coming back, and you also do have a very powerful Soul Bomb, which does provide a debuff, allowing your team to do 80% more damage to one given enemy. And that essentially makes it that you're going to be able to clear one boss in particular super quick. So other than those four characters, I would say they are the main four that you want to bring as a main SP character. Now, of course, that doesn't mean they're the only options. You can probably get away using Output Ichigo, but their damage output compared to some of the, the four that we just talked about are significantly higher. They have more benefits, more reason to use them, but some of these older characters definitely can work, assuming you do actually transcend them. Now, if we saw by the Flurry skill, these are going to be your main NAD DPS characters. Definitely can make a lot of usage here with these characters. One of your best characters for this week, without doubt, that's going to make this quest even easier, is Safri Soifon. Merely no affiliation character with Flurry +1, a good bruiser value. She's immune to burn, but most importantly, lads, she does have an SA2 barrier and also boost attack. So if you aren't using Safri Gin and you do need that crowd control, let's say you don't have Maid Orihime or any other booster character that can provide a barrier and a boost, Soifon is going to be your best because one, she can do that while also doing damage, and at the same time can potentially paralyze the enemies, leaving them basically stuck there for around 7 or so seconds so you can do more damage. Soifon is almost a must-have NAD character for this guild quest week. Definitely going to make your team significantly better if you do have her. And then any character alongside her, anyone works here. Like, there's no best must-have option here other than Soifon, basically. If you have Soifon, you can use Moe. You can use White Ichigo, Yamamoto. Any of these characters you can use alongside Soifon, and the team will do just fine. I don't want to talk about every individual NAD character here because they all just do the same job. The new ones just have more damage output, but two in particular are going to be really good here. In this case, this Kisuke doesn't inflict any stats on it. He might be good to use alongside someone like Ichigo, 1000 Year Blood around 16, that doesn't want to inflict stats on it. In his case, though, he does, one, do a lot of damage, more in guild quests, but also does provide the team with a debuff move, allowing you to do more damage against a boss this Kisuke does decide to use the debuff against. And the same can be basically said about Yamamoto. Again, not a character designed for guild quest. He has a lot of brave battle-orient skills, but he will work. I mean, Flurry +2. He's guaranteed to inflict lacerate against any heart enemy, which is really cool. That will work in this case. He's not immune to burn, so you have to be careful with that, but he also does have a debuff SA2, allowing your team again to do more damage depending on when he does decide to use that SA2. So once more, a lot of great options that you can go with him. I think the best team possible is going to be White Ichigo, is going to be 8th anniversary White with Kisuke and also Soifon, and with this team you're getting a really good DPS main in 8th anniversary White. Kisuke and also Soifon do a lot of damage in guild quests, especially if you have them worked on. Soifon's providing the barrier and also the boost, whereas Kisuke is also doing the debuff. Again, White is replaceable with Ichigo, Gin, Arbok Ichigo, 7th anniversary Uryu. Soifon is replaceable with any other NAD booster, preferably ones with barriers, in this case again, New Year's Renji, Maid Orihime, and then Kisuke you can replace with any other NAD character with Flurry and also no affiliation killer, so the new Yami, 1000 Year Blood War Yamamoto, Sajin, or even White Ichigo. There's a few options that you can go with here. My team in particular is going to be White, Soifon, and also Yamamoto. And with that said, lads, that was the preparation guide for the upcoming guild quest, Melee Hollow and Melee No Affiliation. I would like to think it's going to be a somewhat easier week. Again, if you've been playing for a while and you're ready to tackle the very hard guild quest, you've had potentially access to a lot of really good No Affiliation and also Hollow killers. A lot of the main null attack dealing characters are premium and have been in the game for quite some time. So for most people out there, this week in particular shouldn't be much of a struggle. And that also does go for the, the easier difficulties like hard and even normal. Anyway though, hope you liked and enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Take care and peace.